of this state and of this country. We're engaged in a battle to save the domestic auto industry. By golly, we're going to save the auto industry of the United States of America. And I want to just say why. There's a lot of criticism about what the labor movement has produced in this country. There's a lot of criticism that the wages and the benefits are higher than is true for non-union workers. There is some effort to make sure that the compensation and the benefits are brought down. And what this battle is all about in Washington and throughout this country is really quite simple. The labor movement made the middle class of the United States of America. When I worked at Dodge, Maine, long ago, the vast majority of people in this country had no health care. The vast majority of people in this country had no pensions. The vast majority of people, their kids did not go to college. College was a benefit basically for the very wealthy. It was only 35 years ago when I ran statewide. The county I now represent, Macomb, had 10% of their kids in college. Today, it's 50. And so all of this turmoil about bringing wages down, all of this turmoil about employee free choice. When I was a labor lawyer, when workers wanted a union, most of the time, they could get it. Today, if workers want a union, they can't get it. Free choice is a battle to give the workers of this country a say in the workplace, and we're not going to stop until that happens in the United States of America. And not only in Michigan, not only in Ohio, not only in Wisconsin, it's going to happen in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and in California, and in Maine. That's really all that needs to be said. You know, it seems long ago, it was only 6-7 months ago when two of us, the last day of the Congress, rose to extend unemployment compensation benefits in this country. We passed the bill. We couldn't get it through the Senate. So hundreds of thousands of people went without unemployment comp. And the threat was the then president would not sign it. We tried to get trade adjustment assistance through the Congress. And the answer was, from the Republicans in the Senate and the House, okay, we may extend trade adjustment assistance, but only if you agree to approve the Colombia Free Trade Agreement. And we said, as long as workers in Colombia are killed for exercising their rights, and as long as they don't have a chance to be represented, we're not going to support the Colombia Free Trade Agreement, because what's at stake is the right of workers everywhere, not only in this country, but throughout the globe. And now we have a president. We passed unemployment comp, as you know. In that bill, we tucked the widest expansion of trade adjustment assistance in the history of this country, applying it to service workers as well as other workers. And I said on the floor, when you take into account all of this reform with our new president, I said, and I got a bit personal, you're not supposed to do that on the floor of the House. I said to a colleague, a Republican, who's on the same committee as I said, he was leading the charge against it. I said, can you go back home and look people in the eye and say you voted against unemployment count, against trade assistance, against money for the construction workers so they can get back to work? I called 3 construction unions just last week. Half of their members are on the bench. We now have a president who wants to get them back to work, and I said to that Republican from Michigan, you vote no, I don't know how you're going to go back home and look people in the eye. And so I say to everybody who's represented by a Republican in Michigan, go home, look them in the eye and say they voted wrong on the stimulus bill just a few weeks ago. And thank goodness we have a President of the United States who will stand up for the people of this country. So, let's leave this hall more determined than ever. The hole that has been dug is the deepest hole since the Depression. And I look about, I don't think there are very many of you who remember anything about it. I was a small kid and I don't remember. But we're in a terrible plight in this country, and I think it's going to get a bit worse. And President Obama has said this to each of us. I'm glad to be there, but more than it's up to me, it's up to all of us. And so we're going to leave this place today, and we're going to rededicate ourselves, right? We're going to rededicate ourselves to getting America back to work, to keeping kids in schools, keeping teachers teaching. We're going to rededicate ourselves to making sure that everybody in this country has the kind of health care that the labor movement has brought to its members. That's our goal, and we're going to succeed, if not tomorrow, if not this year, the years soon to come. So I came here, we're going to salute John Dingell, so I'll close with this. I said this on the floor. John has always remembered his roots. John has never worked for his re-election. He's worked for the people who elected him in the first place. And I hope when you see Big John, all of us will rise and say to John Dingell, you represent the kind of public service that we're proud of, and that has made America great. You remember what the labor movement meant as you grew up, and you never ceased fighting for it. We're never going to stop until everybody in this country has the kind of way of life that the labor movement of the United States has created for millions and millions and millions and millions of human beings. That's the legacy, and we're going to live by it. Thank you.